Frugal Force. Once again, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty for another episode of Road Rage. I still have my cough, by the way. Man, I can't shake this thing. Sorry, there it goes right away. So anyway, before I get started, if you do enjoy these videos, please be sure to hit like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Make sure you're still subscribed because YouTube hates me. If you really like these videos, please go ahead, look down below and check out our link to our Patreon where you can help for as little as $1 a month. You look at, I have changed the tiers on there and what our goals are. Just recently, the first one tier is just the $1 give that, you know, we're thankful and everything. But ultimately, the goals are still somewhat the same, but yet different. The continuing goal is to help support the channel so I can, you know, keep up with equipment and things to review and all that. Hear that? Right. Telling me don't miss my turn. But I have a new goal. I never, you know, this is a completely out of the blue kind of thing. I've never had any intention to ever want to write a comic book. And when I was younger, to draw one, I had that intent when I was a bit of an artist. And not once again, I'm not saying I would have made it to the tier of professionalism. I don't know. But anyway, life gave me a different turn. But I have an idea. Life has been rough this year. You know, we all have those patches sometimes where everything just seems to, you know, be tough. And it makes you reflect on things, you know. And with that said, it's given me a comic book idea. So I'm in the process right now. I've been putting it together. I've got the big picture now. Now looking into crafting the characters that are going to be in it, as well as more of the smaller items within it. I've got an idea of how I want the story to flow. And, you know, I realize my limitations, and I want to do this, and I want to do this good, so I'm looking into other people to work with. I've already contacted a writer. He seems interested. I'm not going to give his name yet. And I want to work with him. I think we can work back and forth and flesh it out and make it a fun book. So, and then probably the hard part, I think, is getting the artist, would be my guess. So we'll go from that route. So anyway, I have this. That's one of the things the Patreon's going to do. It's going to help continue to support that idea, because I'm going to have to pay these guys. So I got to start saving that money up more than I already have in there. Sorry about that. To do that. All right. So with that said, you know, recently I said I bought a box of Hulk comic books, and I talked about the Red Hulk series, and then I talked about the what was it, Indestructible Hulk with Mark Waid, and then they restarted the series with another #1 after that, and they called it Hulk, and it starts off with Mark Waid as well. But where this one starts off is exactly where the last one left off. The last one left off where Hulk was working for S.H.I.E.L.D., or I should say Banner was working for S.H.I.E.L.D., and it just, things were starting to fall apart, and at the very end of the series, he gets shot. Banner gets shot twice in the back of the head. And at the beginning of the new series, it's not the most current Hulk series, I mean, this one, it starts with Mark Waid again, but the art is much better in this next series. It's by Mark Begley. I've always liked his art. He's not my favorite artist for Hulk, though, and I love his art for Spider-Man, but his art is good. So I never have any complaints about it. We'll put it that way. I've always liked his art no matter what. So anyway, he's doing the art for this comic, and it picks right up off there, and they're trying to save Bruce Banner with surgery. And what happens is, pretty much, they do save him, but it makes him dumber than a box of rocks. So, you know, the brain damage was severe, and he's just no longer smart. So Tony has this implant ID, and he puts an implant in him, and that brings back the intelligence. But then it also brings back a different version of Hulk, where he doesn't even like being called Hulk. He's very smart. And that Hulk decides he's going to get rid of all the other gamma radiated heroes or characters. Not just heroes, villains too, because he wants to stop that. All but himself at this time, I suppose. And so he gets rid of A-Bomb, which probably nobody cares about anyway, because I think we all like Rick Jones better as Rick Jones than A-Bomb. And, you know, he goes through character after character. Some good fights in there, like him versus Red Hulk. Probably the best one out of the group, ultimately. And really, that's what the story is then he built an AI too, and that sort of turns on him. It does turn on him, and he's fighting himself. And as he also realized that he had the implant taken out. Well, unfortunately, something went wrong with that, and with the whole deal with the implant, and he was losing intelligence. So he wanted to stop his AI before he got dumb again. So, just a second. This guy just pulled out in front of me. I'm going to go back around him. Thanks, guy, for pulling out in front of me and driving 10 miles an hour less than me. I'm going to go around you. Thank you. All right. I hate it when people do that. And now, yes, a semi-truck just pulled out in front of me. That's why these are called road rage. I get that fun. I love it when a semi-truck is in the fast lane going 10 miles an hour or less than the speed limit. Okay, calm down. Yeah, so anyway, this series... It was not written all the way through with Mark Waid. He only wrote the first few issues, and then we switched writers for it, and it got better after Waid was off. I will say it was okay while he was on for that, but it gets the writing in the book gets a lot better, in my opinion, when he's off. And so it's a pretty good read. That one, I'm going to give that series a B minus B. So if you find that, I think it's 20 issues total. If you find that for cheap, you might want to pick that one up. At the worst comes to worst, you got good Mark Bagley art, even though maybe he's not your favorite Hulk artist, because he does have a different stylistic view of the Hulk, but this is a different Hulk too, and I think it was quite fitting. So once again, I give this one a recommendation if you see it. 20 issues, if you can get it for like $1 or less an issue, might be worth checking out. And go ahead and picking it out. Matter of fact, it had elements that I'm a Hulk fan. It had elements that made me want to go back and read Future Imperfect again, which I have, and so I did. I reread that again, and I enjoyed that quite thoroughly. That one's written by Peter David. If you haven't picked up Future Imperfect, you can get it in 2 trades. I would recommend it. It's the Hulk of the future. And how he's changed over time because of the things that have happened and more have happened, and he becomes a dictator and a pretty mean guy. And Rick Jones is an old man at that point, and they get a hold of a time machine from Dr. Doom. They get it working, and they send back for the Hulk of the old, and that would have been, I believe, in the 90s at that point. And that Hulk, they bring him in to fight himself. It's a pretty good story. So it's got a pretty good fight, epic fight too, with Hulk versus what they call himself, the Mastro from the future. And you've seen, if you've read much of Hulk, they went back to that well a few times, talking about the Mastro as well as in other things. We see how it goes in Thanos as well. It was mentioned a little bit. So pretty good. Yeah, definitely. If you haven't ever read Future Imperfect, that's one. Definitely read it. It's got George Perez art in it, and Peter David. Yes, Peter David, the SJW that couldn't seem to pay his taxes. Go figure. But I gotta give the guy credit. Peter David's a good Hulk writer. He really is. His runs on the Hulk were always fantastic, and he's done a lot of other good stuff too. So once again, I don't let some silliness always hold me out. From art. I believe in being honest about their work, like it or not. Alright, so I just wanted to share that. Also, as I said, if you want to help out the Patreon, I am working on a comic. Once again, I can't make any promises because I sort of need the funding. This is going to be an expensive thing, so I'm going to be saving for it with that. And your Patreon will really, really help. I think what's going to make this comic fun is it's coming from a lot from me. And what I mean that is not to be ego or anything. I don't mean from, it's coming from my pen, so it's going to be great. I mean, it's coming from circumstances and things. I've lived through and been through, and it's making me think about that kind of thing and a hero and what they go through and things. And I'm going to make that life kind of little attachment to that realism. I made sure the writer that hopefully is going to be on this also has a similar kind of upbringing and background history, so he's going to have that kind of attachment to these characters too. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a team book, okay? Team book. That's the first little hint. I'm going to be dropping, I think, in more of my videos here and there, I'm going to be dropping nuggets of where I think this book is going to go and what the expectations are. And I want to also start putting that in my Patreon. I'll be putting some updates and things there, as well as some other things. All right. So definitely check out the Patreon. And until next time, guys, keep it frugal.